I am fully convinced that James Gunn is just purposely just throwing shit out the wall, see what sticks, see what becomes trending on Twitter, and just see where it goes from there. Because apparently they are doing something called Jurassic League. Never heard of this shit in my life. I don't think anyone's ever heard of it. Even people who are like super into comic books and Elseworld stories. Apparently we're getting an animated film on the Jurassic League. Let's read this tweet from Culture Crave. Hashtag Jurassic League animated film is reportedly in development at DC. James Gunn is producing. Has any of you ever even heard of a Jurassic League? I mean, it sounds different, I guess, but why? Out of all the Elseworld stories, you choose a Jurassic Park mixed with the Justice League of America? I don't understand. I personally do not understand. It does not make any sense to me. Not saying it's inherently a bad book. I've never read it personally, but I'm just like, out of all the Elseworld stories, this is what you come up with? You couldn't pick anything that is way better and iconic. The ones I would like to see personally, and a lot of people, not just me personally, is JLA Act of God, where everybody just suddenly lose their powers as if it was an act of God. JLA Age of Wonder is the Justice League during the Industrial Era and the Industrial Age. Justice League The Nail. So where Superman's pod is never discovered by the Kent family and is basically a world without Superman. And because there's no Superman, the entire planet is just bigoted towards people with superpowers. Not joking, that's the actual plot of the story. I don't know specifically how they came to that conclusion. I read the book. There was no Superman discovered because there was a nail in the Kent family tractor, a car. But that's just the way the story is, and it still is an amazing story, and it has an amazing art style. I highly recommend this. It's probably my favorite of all the JLA Elseworld stories. There's also JLA Shogun of Steel. If you're a samurai Japanese fan, then you will love your favorite JLA DC Justice League heroes in this feudal Japan art style and setting where they have like swords and stuff. It's really interesting art style as well. Definitely recommend this one. The Justice Riders is great too. If you like westerns and stuff like that, you can see all your favorite characters as like marshals and gamblers and inventors. If you like cowboys and western movies, Clint Eastwood and stuff like that, you will love JLA The Justice Riders, what it's called. Just called The Justice Riders. And these movies are way more deserving. At the very least, I should say. At the very least. At least this is something that is based off something that people have actually heard of instead of those Creature Commandos looking characters. I've never heard of the Creature Commandos either. James Gunn is literally the only one that's ever heard of it, and he's making a whole fucking show, movie. I'm not even sure what that is, but he's making a whole fucking project based on characters that only he has heard of. It doesn't make any sense. I just checked the date of when this Jurassic League book came out, and it literally came out May 2022. Why is James Gunn obsessing over comic books that happened a few years ago when the industry is fucking dead? This dude is making a Supergirl movie, a movie that is complete robbery because we should be focusing on the Superman trilogy, but whatever, that's a discussion for another video. This dude said that Supergirl movie is based off a book by Tom King that came out a year prior. Tom King is literally just a loser beta male feminist who is ruining characters and ruining storylines left and right. So why the fuck is this dude James Gunn just so obsessed with Tom King? He mentioned on his Twitter that he is a big fan of Tom King, and I'm just like, this whole universe is just gonna be just fat, lame, and gay. You should not be trusting this dude to write anything. And he's literally working on the team with James Gunn on some of these projects in his DCU lineup. This shit is just dead to me. Stop making movies and projects on books in an era where comic books are fucking dead, and go back in time decades ago when comic books were actually good and adapt the best stories in the comic book industry, the best stories in the comic book DC universe. You barely even scratch the surface when it comes to some of the best stories of all time, and yet you want to look at shit from like 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even 2 years ago. This shit is fucking ridiculous. There's so many more stories that deserve animated movies, TV shows, and live action movies. This shit just kills the mood for this universe.